Hi, my name is Noel Davis with World Composting, and today we're going to do an update on our bin that has hamster bedding in it. Now this is the one that has the red wigglers in it, not to be confused with the African Nightcrawlers that I have going in another system. So this one has the red wigglers. It was started about 10 days ago. We added in an entire layer on top of wet material that was sort of damp with the worms in it, which was already a compost material, vermicompost, and I'm hoping that that will bring in some microbial action. Now I think somebody mentioned about putting on some crushed eggshell. I did add some of that when I originally mixed up the bedding and let it sit for a week or 5 days or whatever it was. So I did add some of that in, but we can always add a little bit more. It's never a bad thing to have this grit in there for the worms. So we will add a little bit more, but first we need to just go and check and see how the moisture content is, if there's any fruit flies, or if there's anything that's off in the system. So it's been 10 days. It's a little bit longer maybe than I should have waited, but I have sort of just kind of peeked at it and I didn't see anything too major. But we're going to take a look at it now. We're going to make sure that it's doing okay and see how the worms are working on this bedding. So with that, let's go to the bin. All right, here we are with our system. This is the last week's update, and this is today, our update today. So as you can see, 10 days. First off, look at the top. Oh, lots of moisture on here. You can see it's just streaming off there. I'm going to have to pour that in. So we're not going to need moisture in here. I'm going to try to dump some of this off the lid here to have it drip into the system instead of all over my floor. I'm going to put this off to the side, and let's take a look in here. So overall, you can see a little bit of food left in here from the harvest that I did. This is a banana peel, but not many worms on the top here. Let's just dig down a little bit. You can see some of them starting to poke through. There's a couple on the sides over here. You can tell they look pretty big and healthy too, actually, these worms. You can see that these are still the reds, because they kind of have this yellowish flat tail. One of them kind of crawling out over there a little bit. But you can see that they look pretty healthy in here. Let's just dig down in this system and see how it looks. Oh, it looks a little bit dry, not much drier than I thought it would be. So we're going to kind of mix all this stuff in together. Actually, it's very, very dry. We're going to have to actually add some moisture to this, surprisingly, considering the fact that it looks so wet on the top of the bin. But these guys are not digging into the system at all. Unlike my my Africans, which really dug in. So these reds are not digging in quite as much. Here we go. Maybe this corner they're kind of digging in a little bit. On this corner system right here, the corner here, they're digging in a little bit. There's probably a little bit of extra moisture over there. They were digging through there. And there are some, it looks like on the bottom here on these sides. So it looks like they went down the sides, but not the center section. So you can see on the castings on the sides here. But the center section is sort of dry, and you can see the difference in material here. It's very, very dry. You know, so you can see right here, let me just make sure it focuses. It's very dry. So we're gonna have to moisten this up a little bit, I think. I think mixing it in will be good. I think we will add some more of our crushed eggshell too, to just try to get this moving. I'm not seeing a fruit fly issue, which is good. I was a little bit worried about that. Let me just move this way a little bit. There we go. I was worried about fruit flies in here, because we did have that issue in the reds, and actually I'm using the wrong glove for this too. I'm using my right glove, which I didn't want to do. I'll have to wash this one off later. As I said before, I'm going to try to be very, very careful with my gloves with these bins. So I'm going to add in a whole bunch of crushed eggshell here. That's going to balance any pH issues, but also add the grit that the worms will need to keep moving here. And we're going to add a lot of water to this. Even though there's water on that lid, I think we are going to add water. And I am adding water, just so everyone knows. The water that I have has these mosquito dunks in it. Now I'll have a link down below for these, but I throw one of these in a big bucket of water, and then I let that sit, and that's how I actually make the water that I have. So that way it has microbes in it that'll kill fruit flies and fungus gnats, hopefully, or at least the larvae. So we're going to add a lot of water to this, because this is very, very dry. Much drier than I thought, even with all the water that I put on there. And we can always leave the lid off a little bit to let it kind of mix around a little bit. So we're going to just kind of mix this up in just a second here. We're going to add quite a bit of water. There's going to be some standing water on the bottom. That's okay. Alright, I think that's good. Now let me grab the correct glove this time, as we're in one of our bins that has animal stuff in it, used animal stuff. So we're going to just mix this around here a little bit. Looks like there's no standing water in the bottom, which is a good thing. But, you know, even if there was, it'd be okay. You can, actually, there's a little bit over here. You can see some of the water has kind of crept in there. But that's okay. We're just going to kind of keep this as it is. But I just want to make sure that we've got some water in here. Actually, maybe we could use a little bit more. It still looks a little bit dry in some of these areas. But the idea is to kind of get all this mixed in. This is going to really help the microbial content in the system, even though I did let it sit here for a little bit. And this one has a lot more worms than my African Nightcrawler system that I have going right now. So there's a lot more worms in here. Just going to mix this up more. I think we might add maybe one more scoop of water to this, just to kind of make sure it's going. Let me grab my container here. Not quite a full scoop this time, but that's okay. So there we go. And one more scoop of water. And hopefully this is enough right now to keep this moist. We're going to put that lid back on, keep the moisture in. Hopefully as it evaporates out, it'll kind of keep moving around in the system. But overall, it looks like they are starting to work on some of the bedding material. There's a lot of paper bedding in here. And hopefully they will continue with that. So that's our update for this week on this system. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, please leave a comment down below, and I'll try to get back to you in a timely fashion here. And let me just see here. As you can see, there's plenty of water on that lid. Really a lot on there. So let me just shake some more of that off. And there we go. So there's our first update, 10 days in. It looks like it's doing pretty well. It might have been doing a little bit better than the Africans. It's hard to tell, though, with these systems, I feel. You know, this one did not have the fruit fly issue, so I didn't have to check on it quite as much and try to get it sorted out like I did with the other system. So thank you for watching. Again, if you have any comments, please leave one down below, and we'll keep working with these systems. We'll see which... even though this isn't an exact comparison, we'll see how they work with this material from a hamster bin. So, thank you for watching.